So one of my biggest problems with the fact that the left owns the culture is that even when we win the arguments, we sometimes tend to adopt the values that we should be fighting against. And the most obvious example is feminism, where I'll hear right-wingers say, oh, the feminists say, well, women should be strong, strength, she's a strong woman, she's strong. And then right-wingers will say, well, feminism doesn't make women strong, it makes them weak, without ever questioning whether we actually care whether women are strong. I mean, maybe women would prefer that men be strong so that they can concentrate on the far more important and culturally healing attributes of femininity. That's maybe why men are strong, so that femininity can exist. And we let the SJWs accuse people of racism, and then we'll say, no, you're the racist. I said, we're not the racist, you're the racist. Instead of saying, hey, you know what? Institutional racism has been eradicated in this country. There is no legal racism in this country. Personal racism, it may not be a problem. Individuals are always going to be racist. It's a bad thing, but there's always going to be bad things in life, and maybe that's not something that politics has to deal with. When the first time I ever met as a liberal, a conservative, the first conservative I ever met who was a great guy and a friend, and I was shocked to find out he was a conservative, we would get into friendly debates over these things. And like all liberals, I didn't really know very much. I thought I knew a lot. I thought I knew that the Republicans were evil, but I didn't really know anything about, policy or the economy or anything like this. And I would constantly get battered in these arguments, even though he was being kind of kind to me because he realized I was a typical liberal and had no idea what was going on. And one day he said to me, I remember, I said to him, I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but it was a long, long time ago. But I said, the Republicans just don't seem to care. And he said, who cares if they care? And I was shocked. I was scandalized that anybody would not. But of course, he was right. Who cares if politicians care? And what I see now is I see that some people on the right, every day I wake up and they're talking about this tweet and this emotional sense of this and emotional this. And who cares? I mean, look at what is happening. Look at what is happening. Tax reform, if this tax reform thing goes through, it is going to be huge. If it includes the dial back of the Obamacare mandate, it is going to be generationally huge. ISIS has been destroyed in Syria and Iraq 9 months after Mattis said that Trump said, go destroy ISIS. Trump is transforming the federal judiciary into a constitutional, a pro-constitution judiciary from the Obama judiciary that only wanted to push progressive values. Illegal immigration is way down to the point of almost having stopped. Political correctness is dead. The MSM, the mainstream media, is in a shambles, and the left has actually been reduced to now this kind of banana republic politics where they're just going to try and convict Republicans of crimes that are just typical politics day by day. And I'm sitting here and I actually, like in the distance, I can start to hear, I hear something. Yes, it's getting louder. I think it's the Trump happiness montage.
We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet.
My, oh my, what a wonderful day.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. You'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Trigger warning! I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shape, tipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
All right, Michael Knowles is with us. Father Michael O. Knowles. He's going to be talking. Father Michael Knowles is here today. He's going to be talking to us about the theology of Christmas. This is after his starring role in Another Kingdom, which is doing spectacularly well. We'll talk about what happened on this pitch. I promised that I would report back this pitch I did on Thursday. I had a pitch on Friday too, but the lady got sick, and so that didn't. They've delayed that, but I'll let you know about that. That comes after the break, though, so you want to subscribe. You want to come over to thedailywire.com and subscribe for just a lousy $10 a month, and then you can watch the whole thing right on the site. You can be in the mailbag, and you can participate in the conversation, which is coming up again on Tuesday, December 12th. It's at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, and this time it will be with our very own Ben Shapiro. I've heard of him. He'll be great. So subscribe today, and you can be part of the conversation and ask Ben questions live. Anything you want: politics, religion, his favorite comic book characters. I think I'm his favorite comic book character, actually. Ben's conversation will stream live on the Daily Wire Facebook page and the Daily Wire YouTube channel, and it will be free for everyone to watch, but you got to subscribe if you want to ask questions. Ask questions as a subscriber. Log into our website, hyperlink, http dailywire.com. Come on, just go over there. The conversation. Head over to the conversation page and watch the live stream. After that, just start typing into the Daily Wire chat box, where Ben will answer questions as they come in for an entire hour. Once again, you got to subscribe to get your questions answered by Ben Shapiro on Tuesday, December 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Join the conversation, and for a lousy $100, you can subscribe for the whole year and get the Leftist Tears tumbler, which you're going to need today specifically, because there have been a lot. This weekend was incredible. I think with Another Kingdom, we may have actually cured the Klavanless weekend. I mean, this weekend was incredible. And by the way, the mainstream media thinks that they're doing great, and they're just like in rubble all over the ground. So we are here today courtesy of Stamps.com. That is the reason we are not at the post office. We love the post office, but with things moving at the pace they move in the 21st century, you got to take the post office, bring it home, stuff it into your computer through any means necessary, and then you'll have everything you need without having to wait online, without having to depend on their hours to have them be open. You can just do it any time you want. Stamps.com brings all the services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your fingertips, into your keyboard. You can buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and printer, and then the mailman picks it up. And it's just possible you might be mailing a lot of stuff right now. I know we have like a factory. My house has now become like Santa's workshop, like this. All these decorations, these wonderful decorations. We have the mistletoe for, the kind of horrible doings that go on here that I'm sure will be a scandal 10 years now down the line. But if you're mailing stuff, and I'm sure you are, Stamps.com makes it easy. They'll send you a digital scale, automatically calculates exact postage, and Stamps.com will even help you decide the best class of mail every time, so you're not wasting your money. Right now, you can get a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale without any long-term commitments by going to Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Klavan. That's Klavan. Stamps.com, and enter Klavan, and you, like me, will never have to go to the post office again, because it will be right there in your computer. All right, huge stories over the weekend. So, I mean, just amazing. There's so much news that it was hard. It was hard to believe it was all happening one weekend. Let's start with tax reform. Okay, tax reform. I always hate to talk about these bills because they get mashed up and changed. And at this one, they were writing things in the corners while they were voting over it. And so, let's stipulate right away that this is a messy way to make a bill. The bill is going to be imperfect and all this stuff. But what the left is saying about this bill is they are simply lying. The idea that this bill is not a middle-class tax cut is just untrue. I mean, even if you look at it in the smallest way possible, it is going to work out for a tax cut for just about everybody. There'll be a small number of people whose taxes go up. I'll probably be one of them. It's going to be people who are doing well, but they're living in blue states. I mean, that's going to be the people. But I think it's going to be under 12% of the people might see a little bit of a rise. It's not going to be the poor. It's not, it's going to be a tax cut for the middle class, and this huge tax cut for corporations, which is great because it is going to bring at least 1 million jobs in here. If it works, you are going to see an absolute surge in this economy. That it won't be like anything you've seen since the comparison between the Carter economy and the Reagan economy. Now, the reason Obama's economy was not as bad as the Carter economy is because the Reagan economy was so good. It made us so rich for so long with the help of Bill Clinton, who kept it in place, that when it crashed, when there finally was the 2007 crash, that was a huge crash, but there were no bread lines. You didn't see people, there were no Hoovervilles or anything like that. That was because Reagan made us all so rich that we could survive, made the country so rich that we could survive a big crash, a crash really as big as the Great Depression without actually having a Great Depression. So Obama, though he was completely, his handling of the economy was awful. It wasn't quite as bad. He had his 1% growth, his slow growth, the new normal. Democrats were always telling us, this garbage, it's the new normal. It's not garbage, it's the new normal. Well, it's not. It only took Trump 10 minutes to bring us up to 3.3% GDP. This will do even more. And you know how you know it's great? The reaction of the left. Do you have your leftist to your tumbler ready? Get your leftist to your tumbler ready. Listen to this. Kurt Eichenwald, he's the guy with the, what was that, tentacle porn? He's the guy that got caught with tentacle porn. He's a senior writer for Newsweek. Hey, it's all good, It's not that there's anything wrong with tentacle porns. Is that an abuse of people with tentacles? I don't know. But so he's a senior writer at Newsweek, contributing editor for Vanity Fair. Here was his tweet. America died tonight. Economics, just keep in mind, this is a tax cut, right? It's like tax reform. America died tonight. Economic suicide. Adopted to feed the insatiable greed of donors who have been refusing to dole out dollars to GOP until they got their tax cuts. Voters fooled by propaganda and tribal hatred. Millennials, move away if you can. USA is over. We killed it. And by the way, millennials, feel free to take that advice if you want. My favorite, I think everybody's favorite, was the comedian and actor Patton Oswalt. And you think like, why? Because everybody's on Twitter, so why quote these people? But Oswalt does have one of the most popular podcasts, I think, on the air. He says, is there any going back after this tax bill scam to America? Does it matter now if Trump is impeached? There's no America now, at least. And then he said, not the America we knew. Sorry, feeling real despair this morning. I mean, this is unbelievable stuff. It really is. And it's just like, well, let's play. And it's not like it was just people on Twitter, just Bernie Sanders commenting on it.
A day that historians will look back on December 1st, 2007. And they conclude that today is a day of one of the great robberies, act of criminal activities, if you like, in the modern history of this country, because the federal treasury is being looted tonight.
So this is like a guy comes into your house and steals your TV. The police catch him and give you your TV back. And Bernie Sanders says, they're robbing this poor man to give TVs to the rich. It's like, it's not your money, Bernie. It's the money. Where is it written that if somebody makes a lot of money, it suddenly belongs to you? How does that happen? It's his money. The money in that treasury that you're talking about is coming from people who earned it. You didn't earn it. You did nothing except try to turn this country into Venezuela. So what are you talking about? And of course, the stuff about John McCain, just unbelievable. John McCain supported the bill, and he has brain cancer, and people took to Twitter. These leftists took to Twitter en masse to basically wish him dead, and that not just dead, but a horrible, suffering death. And my feeling about that is, how do you then look at yourself in the mirror and say, these Republicans, they have no compassion, they have no empathy, and I hope you die, John McCain. How do you reconcile that? All right, that's a big. I mean, it's a huge story, and it now has to go to committee, and then they still have to pass it again, so it can still founder. Things can happen to it, but it will be big. And Trump is hinting that he may actually now go for the kind of entitlement reform that he said he wasn't going to do at first. But if he's now on board with that, this will be an historic. I mean, this presidency. I get it. I talk about the fact that I don't like the way Trump behaves all the time, but this presidency for a first year has been Y-U-G-E, huge. I mean, so here's the second one, is the indictment from the FBI. And so Michael Flynn pleads guilty to lying to the FBI about a few phone calls he made to Russia after Trump was elected. He said he didn't make them. He said he didn't say the stuff he did. He was talking to Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, about the fact that Obama was putting sanctions on Russia for their meddling. He talked to him about a scurrilous UN resolution that condemned Israel for having settlements, and Jared Kushner apparently wanted him to say to them to delay that vote because Obama, breaking with all American history, was not going to veto the vote, and he let it pass, which was just an awful, awful, ugly, stupid thing to do. And he apparently, Flynn, he must have known it was being taped, and of course the FBI knew it was taped and knew what was on it. He apparently lied about it. He has pled guilty to this. You have to listen to this montage of the mainstream media basically going nuts over this.
There aren't many more dots after Mike Flynn, right? Your dots go to Kushner and then the president. There really are no other dots here.
This is a case that reaches directly into the heart of the Trump administration, into the Oval Office.
People now who have believed that the president's sort of loose way with information and facts was his best defense now think that the president is in danger and exposed.
I do agree. This is a big moment where if you're on the fence, you start to think, geez, is this whole thing going down? Is it Watergate?
Breaking news. ABC News' Brian Ross is reporting Michael Flynn promised full cooperation to the Mueller team and is prepared to testify that as a candidate, Donald Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians. Yes!
Hooray! The president is in contact with the Russians, the president-elect. So this last thing that she's referring to, this piece of baggage is referring to, is a report from Brian Ross that it was candidate Trump as opposed to president-elect. You know, I noticed this when the story was being reported, but it was the weekend and I was kind of hearing it out of the corner of my ear, and I was thinking, wait a minute, this conversation took place in December, so the election was already over. So here's Brian Ross reporting this wrongly.
He has promised full cooperation to the Mueller team. He's prepared to testify, we are told by a confidant, against President Trump, against members of the Trump family, and others in the White House. He is prepared to testify that President Trump, as a candidate, Donald Trump, directed him to make contact with the Russians, which contradicts all that Donald Trump has said at this point. As well, we're told that Flynn made the decision to cooperate only in the last 24 hours, that he is distraught about the decision but feels he's doing the right thing for his country, that he was facing huge legal bills of more than $1 million, and that he said that finally he had to go ahead and do this for that reason. He expects to put his house on the market. He is facing serious financial problems.
So this is, the same guy. This is not the first time this happened. This is the same guy who, remember the Aurora shooting in Colorado at the Batman showing in the movie theaters 2012? He's the guy who looked up the suspect. The killer's name was Jim Holmes. Was it James Holmes? I think that's what it was. So he went and looked up Jim Holmes, found a Jim Holmes who belonged to a Tea Party in Colorado, and went on the air and said, this might not be him, but this might be connected to the Tea Party. And of course it wasn't him. I mean, Jim Holmes, it's like John Smith, it's absurd. He's also the guy who said that Saddam Hussein was behind the anthrax attacks back in 2001. I mean, he has made some major, major errors. So they suspended him for 4 weeks without pay. And my feeling about that is if they suspended him by his ankles, that's okay. For 4 weeks, that would be okay. Otherwise, he should be fired. That's unforgivable, and especially given his record. I mean, what does it take to get fired from ABC? How many wrong stories? And by the way, for those people who say that Donald Trump is not responsible, at least in part, for the stock market rise, the minute people heard this, the stock market tanked by like 350 points. So it was people thinking, oh no, Trump's in trouble. Is he in trouble? Let's go through the story really quickly because I want to get to Michael Knowles. I should break here. I say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. Come on over. You can listen to the rest on YouTube or come on over to the Daily Wire and you can listen. But if you want to watch it, you got to subscribe. It's a lousy $10 a month, and you can be part of the conversation with Ben coming up. It's next Tuesday, right? Not this Tuesday. Yeah, next Tuesday.